Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more rifle testing, and today we've got a combo that I've definitely got some pretty high hopes in. We haven't tested this rifle in probably a year or so now on the channel, so I figured it's time to bring it back out here, especially with deer season starting up all over the country. This is about as classic of a rifle combo as you could really get, so I'm definitely curious to see how it does with this particular ammunition. But as for the setup we got today, I brought out my Remington 700 BDL. This one is chambered in 30-06, and it is the stainless or all-weather or whatever you would like to call it model as well. 24-inch barrel on it, and up on top here is a Trijicon. I believe this is called their AccuPoint scope, if I'm remembering correctly. It's a 3 to 9x40, and it's got the green fiber optic pointed reticle on it. So very nice setup here, that's for sure. And this rifle shoots really well. It really likes Remington core locks, so we'll see how it does with this particular ammo today. But as for what we're going to run, I picked up some of these Herter's loads on sale the other day. I believe I got these for 22 bucks a box or something like that. Probably some of the cheapest 30-06 I've seen in a while. But if you don't know, Herter's is just the in-house brand name for Cabela's and Bass Pro Shops. However, it's all made by Winchester. So think Winchester Super X here. But these are a 30-06 180 grain soft point, moving at about 2,700 feet per second. Very standard stuff, nothing fancy. But these should be a pretty decent load combo in theory. This rifle I know has some very good accuracy potential, so we'll see how it likes the Herter's 180 grainers. But as for our test today, we're going to run it the same as we usually do. I've got a target set up at 100 yards. We're going to shoot 3 groups, 3 shots each, all of which will be through the chronograph as well, so we can get our velocity. That should give us a pretty decent idea on what this combo is capable of, assuming I can do my part on the trigger, since these will be my first shots of the day personally, but we should be all right there. So enough talking, let's get you guys a view of that target. We'll shoot our groups. I'll give the rifle a couple minutes between each group to cool off a little bit, so heat shouldn't be a real factor. The barrel's probably got 20-25 rounds through it since it was last cleaned. So starting off with a cold bore, but not a completely clean bore either. So let's get you guys a view of that target, take our groups, and see how the old 700 likes these Herter's 180 grainers. Alright, so let's take a peek through our velocities real quick before we look at our target. Lost claim is 2,700, and we definitely were seeing that, surprisingly enough, even though we have a 24-inch barrel. So for a high, we had 2,769. For a low, we had 2,633. That gave us an average of 2,724. So just that little bit above their boss claim, with an extreme spread of 136. So they weren't overly consistent, along with a standard deviation of 39. So at an average of 2724, here are your energy numbers for your typical 180 grain 30-06 at 2724. Perfectly usable for anything you would typically use a 30-06 for. Nothing out of the ordinary there. Looks perfectly fine, but maybe a little bit wider of an overall spread than what I might like to see at 130 something as our total spread. I wouldn't mind seeing them a little more consistent than that, but how do they actually do in the accuracy department? Let's head over to our target and measure some things and see how they did. Alright, so here's our target, and I gotta say, I'm liking what I'm seeing. That first group is obviously our best group of the day, hands down, no doubt about it. And comparing that to the other two, was it a little bit of luck? I don't know, I doubt it. It probably has to do with barrel heat more than anything else. Maybe a little bit of fouling from a different bullet being run through it. That's also a potential, I suppose. I felt really good about all of these trigger pulls, and I mean, if we can get groups like that first one in the center, I don't know that you could ask for much better than that. And even the other two groups aren't terrible either necessarily. I did let the rifle cool down for 5 or 6 minutes or so between each of the groups, so the barrel was not hot to the touch, but it was still slightly warm, if anything, so maybe this one is just a little bit particular about that. But I guess we'll start off with those middle 3 shots, and they're all almost in the same hole. They're absolutely touching, and I can tell you right now, that's sub MOA all day long. And indeed it is at 0.42 inches, so that is less than half MOA. If you're getting 0.4 inch groups out of hunting ammo, I'd say that rifle can shoot. I've seen multiple sub MOA groups out of that gun with the Remington core lock stuff, but I don't think I've seen a group quite that tight out of it so far. So it seems like it rather enjoys those Herter's loads, that's for sure. But now we'll move up here to the top left group with these 3 shots. I think that's probably our worst group of the day. Again, I felt good about all these trigger pulls, but who knows, this top one could have been a little bit of a flyer on me. Either way, I'll measure it and see what it gave us, because that's still not horrible. And it gave us 1.39. So still 1.3 inches out at 100 yards. I mean, that's perfectly capable for anything you would want to use a 30-06 for. But I do think it's the worst group of the day. So now we'll move up here to our third group in the top right. I definitely think it's a little bit better than that second one, but clearly there's a difference here. Again, probably barrel heat, if I had to take a guess, although the barrel was not hot by any means. And it gave us a 1.07 inch group. So I think that's just a tad bit over MOA. What is MOA at 100 yards? 1.04 or something about right there. So I mean, you can pretty much call that right at MOA. Overall, I'm liking what I'm seeing here. For 3 cold bore shots, having never fired those Herter's rounds through that barrel ever, to get a group like this, and these are my first 3 shots of the morning too. It's like 9 o'clock in the morning. So that is nothing short of impressive. That might be one of the better groups that I've ever shot personally. I've had several rifles group right around that half-inch mark, but especially out there all the way at 100 yards, if we're getting 0.4 inch groups, I don't think you can argue with that one bit. For a soft point hunting bullet, there's never going to be anything that makes it through that as long as you put that bullet on target where it needs to be. So for a mid $20 price range, just soft point hunting ammo, in-house Cabela's brand name stuff, I think I might have to pick up a couple more boxes of that, because clearly this rifle really likes it, I would say. Alright y'all, well, what did you think about those results right there? I expected to see right around the inch mark or so, as long as those Herter's loads were any kind of decent at all, because I know that Remington 700 can shoot very nicely, but to get a 0.4 inch group right off the rip this morning, I mean, you can't ask for any better than that. I guess you can say whatever you want to about the other groups, the one that's right at an inch and the one that's at 1.4. Both of those are still very nice groups, especially that 1.07 that we got. I'll take that all day long. But we clearly know that this combo is capable of sub MOA all day long. So maybe a little bit of barrel heat got into it, and that rifle might be a little particular about that or something of that sort. But for what I would use that rifle for, I mean, it's a hunting rifle. Most of the time it's going to be 100-yard shots on deer, and who knows, maybe eventually we'll take it a little bit longer for an elk or something like that down the road. But for what I would run that rifle for, straight cold bore half-inch groups or better, you can't complain. But leave all your thoughts down below. Is that about what you expected? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Have you tested any of these Herter's 30-06 loads? And if so, what kind of results have you seen from them? Would you hunt with that combo? And if so, what kind of ranges and stuff would you be comfortable pushing it to with that kind of accuracy and that loading? And what other loads do you want to see us run through that 700? Let me know all that down below. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, you have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All that information will be in the description if you're interested in it. But I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.